Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jorvik, and in today's video I'm going to be going over my platinum collection. As you can see, I have 52 platinums. Now I know to most people that's probably not a lot, but these are just, I'm a recent platinum trophy hunter. I just started. I want to say, well, we'll get to it. When I first got my PlayStation 5, I want to say spring of 23, maybe 22. I don't know exactly. So really over the last couple years, this is just the collection I've amassed. Now, as you can see here, we are down in the PS3 section. So this is when I had my PlayStation 3 years ago. I still have it. It's just in a box somewhere. But technically, my first platinum was Lego Marvel Superheroes. And so, as you can see, I got that in 2014. I was a senior in high school playing Lego games. But as you can see, later on, you'll see that I did not stop playing Lego games. So this is technically my first platinum. But after that, I didn't really get another platinum until I got my PlayStation 5. So right here you can see Goat Simulator at PS3. I have it at 91%. That is the last game I played on my PlayStation 3. And I had a PlayStation 4, but I used a different account. So a lot of those games that I played on there, I don't think I even got any platinums on there, now that I think about it, on with this main account that I have. So technically the last trophy that I got was in August of 2015. When I got my PlayStation 5 is when I started doing this. So you can see here we go up to Ghost of Tsushima. This was the first platinum trophy that I got, but man, what a great like first game to platinum. Like, it's just challenging enough, it's just like big enough as like a game where nothing is really too like crazy to do. I don't even think there's really like a hard trophy here. I mean, I guess the one that'll take you the longest is definitely the collectible trophies, because like even like doing the side quests, like all of these side quests trophies are just so good. And then same thing with like all of these combat trophies are pretty easy. You just, most of them you get just by playing the game. And then I think like I said, I think it was this trophy right here, Body, Mind, and Spirit, was to complete all the hot springs, the haikus, the Inari shrines, and bamboo strikes. The only I did have difficulty with this trophy because one of the hot springs, like, or no, it was a haiku. One of the haikus like didn't show up on my map, and I had to like look everywhere for it. But yeah, I think that was probably the most difficult trophy. Other than that, I don't really think really anything was like that overall difficult. So after Ghost of Tsushima, I played What Remains of Edith Finch. Now, I played this game on Xbox many years ago, and I saw it was on PlayStation Plus at the time. I really like this game. It's like 2 hours, like nothing even like remotely crazy. It's just like a walking sim, but it's just like, I mean, like the story's not a 10 out of 10, but it's still just like one of those like just nice little platinums that you can just be like, yeah, get it done in an afternoon and just call it a day. I really like this story. I really like the music in this game as well. So if you haven't played this game, I mean, give it a chance. Like, it's not shovelware by any means, but it's still like a pretty like enjoyable story. So next up we have Jedi Survivor. So this is right around the time. So this is the first game that I got when it came out, and like explicitly went for the platinum, because at this point, like even doing the two, already I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. Like, and it looks nice like on this screen. So let's go ahead and go for Jedi Survivor. The first trophy that I got was the 28th, and I got the platinum on the 7th. So about a week it took me. And there was a couple trophies that I don't really think were overly difficult. The only one that I had to wait because like there weren't like any guides out. So it was this trophy right here, the purchase all Adoma's merchandise, because you needed every single bit of the currency. So like going around and like the maps and collecting I forgot what they're called because it's been almost 2 years. But there was one that I couldn't figure out how to get because I was worried that it wasn't spawning. And then a guide came out where you had to bring a special, whatever those creatures are that you can ride, and you had to bring it back to the stables. And then, like, after like a day, like, if you, like, reload the area, it like pooped or something, and then it would drop one of those things. So it was very like complicated, and I had no idea how to do it, and that's why it took me like an extra 2 days to do the platinum. But other than that, I really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. Not a crazy game, really fun. I'm looking forward to the third one. So next up, we have Lego Marvel's Avengers. Nothing really to say about this. I really love this game. It's just one of those like Lego games I think is pretty top tier. And I also did all the DLC. But it's a Lego game. It took me probably a week, because this game's pretty dense. I mean, it didn't take me as long as the Skywalker Saga, which we'll see here in a minute, but yeah, it was still a pretty fun game. Next up was, I kind of got on a Lego kick, so it was DC Supervillains. Now, I have tried to play this game when it came out on Xbox, but for some reason I just couldn't get into it. I think is the only. No, that's not true. It's not the only Lego game I couldn't get into, but I don't know. I just couldn't get into it, and I love playing Lego Batman 1, 2, and 3, and then this is technically a sequel to those. And but I eventually just sat down and cracked it out, and as you can see here, I also did all the DLC. Nothing crazy. So next up is Lego Batman 3. Another just fun Lego game. Like, I don't think it's the best Lego Batman game, but it's definitely the biggest. And of course, like, you had all of these DLCs, which I didn't 100%, so that's whatever. I think I eventually, like, I have all of these, so I think eventually, like, if I'm bored, I'll just go back and 100% some of these games. But there was a sale in the store right around this time, so you can see, like, I did a bunch of the Lego games. So next up is Lego Marvel Superheroes. This was the first Marvel game that kind of encompasses, like, the comics of Marvel, not just like the event, like the MCU, like the Marvel's Avengers was. And this is, again, like, as you can say, I did platinum this again. This is the PS4 version, so I went back and played this game, and yeah, I platinumed it for a second time. Next up was the Lego Harry Potter collection. As you can see, I did years 1 through 4 and 5 through 7. I think this is probably the fastest I did. Trophy was on the 7th of August, and then I got the plat on the 10th. So 3 days. I think it was less than that because, as you can see, I got it at like 6 a.m. This is back when my schedule was, I was solely like a night person. As you can see, 8:17 a.m. for the years 5 through 7. Yes, yeah. So I just did these 4 Lego games back to back. Nothing crazy over the span of like pretty much like 2 weeks. I think I did these 4 games. And then right after that, I started playing Mafia, but I won't go back to that. But right after that, I did finally sat down and did Lego the Skywalker Saga. Man, what a just a huge game. This one took me a while. As you can see, I started it in June, and I didn't get the plat until the end of August. So it did take me a while to get through this game. I mean, it's just it is the biggest Lego game, and I really hope that they do like the Harry Potter movies again, but in the Skywalker Saga, and then also include like the Fantastic Beast movies. I think that would be just really fun and just truly like expand upon this universe as well. I think I'd be really into that. Next up, one of my fastest platinums. I think I did it in less than a day. Yeah, as you can see, 12:05 a.m. to 4:05 p.m. The next day was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, an absolute classic of a game. I remember playing this on PlayStation 2 back in the day. Just a great, fun game. And this is like what a true remaster, I think. I think this is the template for a remaster, personally. It just felt so nostalgic to play. It also, like, just all of the memories of playing this game was flooding back as I was playing through this game. remembering where all the secrets are, like that type of stuff. And then plus like the art style is a little bit more bubbly in this, it's more colorful, obviously, but having like the a lot of like the SpongeBob memes over the years incorporated into this game, I think was really fun too. So I really enjoyed that game. Next up was a hard game for me to play. I don't know what it is. The Marvel Superheroes 2, it really it took a long time. As you can see, the 27th all the way to the 2nd. So it took me almost a week to platinum this game because there's just so much to do. Like there's like 20 levels. Let's see, how many levels are there? Maybe not 20, but there is a lot of levels plus all of the side content. Like Chronopolis is just like the map is just so big. I mean, obviously it's nothing compared to the Skywalker saga, but this was probably the second biggest game I would imagine. I haven't played the Lego racing game, so I don't know how big that game is, but yeah, it was a lot. So it did take me a while to kind of chip away at this, and plus doing all of the DLC for this game as well. All right, next up, we're getting into when I was just really doing these back to back. So we have Man Eater, a fun little shark game. You can get it done in less than a day. I definitely did it. I think it was like maybe 12 hours I did this in. Just a fun little game to kind of turn your mind off and just be a shark, eat stuff. Now this game right here, my next plat was Death Stranding Director's Cut. So I never played Death Stranding, and I wanted to start playing more of the PlayStation. After Ghost of Tsushima, I wanted to play more of the PlayStation exclusive games. And because this was on PlayStation Plus, I decided to play it. Knowing nothing about this game, I do remember when it was originally released, I was like, wow, what a weird like game, because I remember the trailers being weird. But man, this is probably one of my probably my top so far, my top 5 like platinums. And I don't know what it is, like dude, the story is just so good. Um because it's laid out like a show. And then like just like the everyday, like obviously all the deliveries and like finding all of like the hidden people. Like I had no idea there was hidden people that you had to find. So it took me, like, I had to look up a guide. I'm like, am I missing people? And then I discovered that there was like 4 people that you have to actually discover while playing the game. And it's just like the world is beautiful, like the not just like the world building, but just like the world itself, like the open world is I think is really beautiful, and the way you can navigate it, just absolutely 10 out of 10 for me personally. Yeah, so Death Stranding, it took me a couple weeks because I was just down there. This trophy right here, complete at least 20 unique premium deliveries. So I was doing these wrong the whole time, and I didn't realize it. And until I like really like looked at a guide, because I'm like, I should have gotten this by now. And so I looked at a guide and finally was like, oh, I have been doing these wrong the whole time. And then so I finally like chipped away at the other ones that I needed. And then I think, where is it? The only other like trophy that I needed to like be aware of was the one where you have to collect the like the only like collectibles in this game, and I forgot what they are called. This one right here, the memory chips, because you can't just go and like get them. Like some of them only spawned after certain missions, so you just have to be like aware of that. But following it, when you complete the game, all of them should be like available. Like I didn't have to restart or anything. So you can do this after like you complete the game and all that kind of stuff like that. But this was one of the last like few trophies that I got. All right, next up is Horizon. So I played Horizon on my other account on my PlayStation 4. I really love this game. I can't say I can't really express just how good like this game is. None of this is really hard either. Like there's no difficulty related trophies, so you can play this on story if you wanted to. And I mean, I guess the only really challenging trophies would be the hunting challenges right here, earning a blazing sun mark in all trials of the hunting ground. But it's really like not that like difficult. Like there's a lot of hunting challenges that are super easy. And there's some of them that I did have to like look up a guide for because I didn't understand like exactly what they wanted me to do, and I think that's just a skill issue on my part. But other than that, I think that this trophy right here would be like the hardest trophy, relatively speaking. But other than that, I mean, this game is pretty chill, nothing too crazy. And then obviously right after that, I did Forbidden West. I actually played Forbidden West when I first got my as you can see in March was my first like, but I never got the platinum for it. And so after I completed Horizon Zero Dawn, I was like, well, wait, let me go back and do Forbidden West. So then I downloaded it again and went and cleaned up all of the extra trophies. Now, the only trophy here that I really hated, again, this is a pretty easy game. It's just a continuation of the first one. Again, the world is beautiful. Like the story is pretty interesting. So I think right here is the only trophy that I really hated, and it's win a match against two different Machine Strike challengers. In Machine Strike, I really hate when games do this, and we'll talk about it when we get further down my list, because other games do it. But when they add like mini games into the game, and then like there's a trophy based off of it, and like the game is either just really confusing or just really hard, and it's unnecessary. It's like adding multiplayer trophies to a single player game. Like I think it's just completely pointless and I hate it. So Machine Strike sucks. Like I don't even remember exactly how that game is played, but just know that it's awful if you haven't played this game. And if you have played this game, you know that game mode sucks. Moving on, I finally decided to play Astro's Playroom. Um, yeah, really fun like game that just introduces the mechanics of like the dual sense controller and like all that kind of stuff. I didn't really do a lot of the DLC for it or like these add-ons for it. I mean, I might go back eventually, but nothing crazy. Next platinum I got right after that was Deliver Us the Moon. Nice little indie game. You can definitely do this in like 8 to 10 hours. It took me a couple days because I like to sleep. But this is just like a really cool like game where you play as like this astronaut who has to go to the moon, and like Earth is to the point where we were getting power from the moon somehow, and something happens where you have to go up and you have to like investigate this is also like a walking sim pretty much. Nothing too difficult. There's like some um as you can see, there's like all these missions, and then there's some collectibles like these audio logs and these scannable informations and these holograms and like all this kind of stuff like that. The only thing that's really a bummer is this one where you have to survive outside for 30 minutes. There is a point where you leave the space station on the moon and you're outside like in a rover, and you just have to AFK for 30 minutes. That's the only like difficult quote unquote trophy, I guess. Other than that, really fun game. Just really interesting too. Like the world, the lore in this game is pretty interesting. So if you haven't checked this game out, I highly recommend it. Next up, I finally decided to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And what a really fun game. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I've never played Ratchet and Clank before. But as you can see, I did this in like less than a day. Like less than a day. And it's just like just a really fun trophy. And like nothing is hard. Like there's no like difficulty to this. It's just like play through the story, do some collectibles, some weapon stuff, some combat trophies. So like there is some challenges, but those challenges aren't difficult at all. I mean, this is mostly a kid's game, but it's still just like a really fun platinum to get. Next up, I didn't get the platinum, but it is like 100%, and this is game Abzul. I don't know how to say it, but you're like a diver. Just a really fun game. You can kind of go through it in a couple hours. I'm a little bummed there's not a trophy for it, but you know, still 100%, so I still kind of count it. So next up, I went back and played Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. So this was the Lego Star Wars game where it was just strictly The Force Awakens, which I thought was really interesting why they would do an entire Lego game based off of one movie. But you know, whatever. Standard collectathon for Star Wars. You know, complete all of the stories, complete all of these bonus levels like the Battle of Endor. And then like there are levels that are like kind of fill in between scenes basically from the movie, and then your general collect all of the true Jedis, the mini kits, you know, all that kind of stuff like that. Nothing too insane. I have not done any of the DLC, as you can see, so I think maybe one day I'll go back and do it. Next up, I got Mirage, Assassin's Creed. I love Assassin's Creed, and we'll get to more of the Assassin's Creed games. But this one I also got in less than 2 days. You can see October 4th was when the game came out, so it was when I got the game, and then I got the platinum on the 6th, so less than 2 days later. Just really fun, really nice, just kind of tight and concise Assassin's Creed game. You know, when I want to do a whole separate video on Assassin's Creed because I think people really get mad at that series for no reason. I am really looking forward to Assassin's Creed Shadows. That comes out pretty soon, I think, at the time of recording this. So I will definitely get the platinum for that because I really love the RPG games, unlike most people. But I do really love Mirage. Really just fun, like I said, tight Assassin's Creed game. This was originally supposed to be DLC for Valhalla, but I think they were like, hey, we can just do a whole game out of this. And, you know, I'm glad that they did because it is a huge departure from what Valhalla was, just because of like the time period, not the time period because it's around the same time, but like the environment, I guess. But no, if you haven't played Assassin's Creed Mirage, highly recommend it. It's a pretty easy platinum, nothing crazy. It's not like the other Assassin's Creed games or the earlier Assassin's Creed games where you have to get like 100% sync. A lot of these are story-related trophies, combat-related trophies, collectible trophies. You know, upgrading an outfit, weapons. Nothing to doing the viewpoints. That's in every Assassin's Creed game, pretty much. Nothing crazy. I mean, you can get this done like without a guide. You honestly could get this done in a couple days for sure. Next up on the list, I was on Assassin's Creed kick, so I went back and did Odyssey. I have done all of the RPG games on Xbox. So I have done all the DLC for Xbox. I just haven't done them on here. But for the platinum, this is also another game that I started when I got my PlayStation. As you can see, my first trophy was in March, right around the same time I did Horizon. But then I went back and decided that I'm like, oh, you know what? I should go and platinum all the RPG games. So that's what I started doing. So I did Odyssey. This is probably my favorite Assassin's Creed game. And it's just because like I love ancient Greece and like that time period, and so like living in that time period and like playing this game just really did something for me. And I know people complain because they're like, oh, well, there's not even assassins in this. I was like, yeah, but this game is not about the assassins. This game is about the Templars, like the Order of Ancients, the Cult of Cosmos. Like, it's the origin of the Templar Order. And Valhalla continues that trend with the Order of Ancients being dismantled and the Templar Order is formed. I think a lot of people kind of miss that in the game. But yeah, great game. I even have the symbol, like the logo. I have that, like, I love this game so much I have that tattooed on me. It's the only logo from something that I have tattooed on me, and it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is insane. So next up, I went back and did Jedi Fallen Order. You know, pretty easy game. The only thing that really sucks was collecting all the chests and secrets. That's just going back and just redoing all of the levels and just going through all the different things, and that's really the only hardest trophy. Other than that, pretty easy. All story trophies, skills based, combat based. You know, nothing too crazy. After that is when Spider-Man 2 came out, and Spider-Man 2 was another one that I got pretty quickly. As you can see, less than a day, October 31st is when. Oh no, it's probably more than that. It has to be, yeah, 30th. When did this game come out? It was like, yeah, the 29th. Okay, yeah. So it took me a few days, to get through this game, and like going through all of the, clearing the districts and doing all that kind of great stuff. So yeah, what a fun. I really love Spider-Man. Those games are really fun. And so when that game came out, I did it. I do need to do New Game Plus, obviously. Haven't done that. And I think I will soon. I want to do like a video where I go back and just 100% some of these plats that I haven't done yet. Next up was Gotham Knights. I have a soft spot for this game. Like, it's not a 10 out of 10 by any means. I think there's a lot wrong with this game, but as like a Batman fan, you would really enjoy this game if you know the characters, you know Batman lore, because this is pretty deep Batman lore, this game. Like, if you're just like a casual Batman guy and like you just watch the movies and you don't know who like the Court of Owls is, and you don't know like the lore surrounding Bruce's family and all that kind of stuff like that, and like how it's tied into Gotham's history. And then of course, like with Ra's al Ghul and like Talia, like there's just so much in this game that, as a fan who reads the comics and understands, like, I did enjoy this game. The only thing that really sucks is the collectible stuff, but it's actually really not as bad as most collectible grinds are, because for the most part you can kind of get them like as you go, as like play through the game. But other than that, like, I think I only spent like a couple hours on cleanup doing collectibles and following a guide at that. So it is a pretty easy game. The only thing that really sucks about this game, though, is the way that they do gear. Unlike like something like Borderlands, or not Borderlands, but like, like some RPG games where you can, like, there's like higher gear that you can get, like just the way that they do it is like really weird, and like I don't know even know how to explain it, like, unless you play this game, you know what I'm talking about. It's just really weird. A lot of combat trophies, nothing crazy. But overall, I think it's still a pretty solid, like, Batman-esque games. This one's also a grind. The prevent 250 crimes in Gotham City. Um, that's a pretty big grind. Really hard about this platinum. So yeah, overall, I mean, I would recommend it to people. So if you are subscribed to this channel, I did do a video on this, Assassin's Creed Origins, and I talked about that experience in that. So if you want to check that video out, you can. But yeah, just standard for the RPG esque game era of games. A lot of story missions, complete certain missions, collectibles, legendary equipment, skill based stuff, a bunch of combat based stuff, and some activity stuff. Really nothing overly crazy. I do think the hardest trophy is probably this one right here, over design, and that's to kill a poisoned level 35 plus enemy with a torch in less than 30 seconds. This took a couple tries, because one, you have to get to the point where you're around a level 35 to even get level 35 plus enemies, and then you have to deplete their health enough to where you can poison them, but you haven't killed them yet, and then pull out a torch and then like hit them with it. Like, it is super complicated, and this trophy actually comes back later on, which I think is really funny. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty easy platinum. I think the other one too is Old Habits, which is to complete all locations. That one takes some time, but if you just kind of do that as you play the game, and you're going through the world and all that kind of stuff like that, it's really, the cleanup is not that bad. Because most places just have like a chest that you loot. Nothing crazy. All right, next up, this is where I started doing a bunch of, well, besides Hogwarts Legacy, I started doing a bunch of Ubisoft games again. So I did Hogwarts Legacy. I played this on Xbox when it came out. Nothing crazy. I do really like this game. I like the Harry Potter, the Wizarding World. So basic open world game. Complete some story missions, do collectibles, side quests, and like just all that kind of stuff like that. Nothing overly complicated. The collections is also probably one of the hardest ones because you have to go around and like find these pages in all different areas. But luckily there is like a tracker, um, so it's not like that difficult. The only one that really I think would take a lot of time is the Merlin trials right here. Is complete the Merlin trials, and those are like all over the map, and there's like 100 and something of them. And those they're just like little magic based, but they are kind of all over the place, and that does take some time to go through. What else? I don't really think there isn't. Oh, this one right here, finishing touches. Use ancient magic on every enemy in the game. This one also you have to be very mindful of. Just whenever you cross a new enemy that you're not for sure, just use your ancient magic as much as possible. Because like it took me a long time to figure out which ones I was missing, and it turned out to be like a type of wolf enemy, because I did everyone else. So yeah, just be mindful of that while you're playing, and then other than that, it's pretty easy. Just your standard open world game. Next up, I did Avatar: The Frontiers of Pandora. Now, when I just realized I didn't realize there was more. This DLC came out. That's kind of crazy. So when I originally did this game, there was no DLC for this game. Okay. But yeah, it's standard. I mean, this is basically just Far Cry, just skinned like Avatar. Like, so if you like Far Cry games, I think you'll like this game. I did enjoy this game actually because I do like the Avatar movies and I like that world. But it's your standard open world Ubisoft game. There's all of these main missions, skills, collectibles, which are like these bell springs, these tersuit saplings, just a bunch of like side quest stuff. Nothing overly difficult. It's just a little tedious. I think this one is take some time. Collect 30 audio logs. But yeah, I mean it does play like a Far Cry game, like almost to a T. So it's really not like that. I mean, if you play all the Far Cry games, I think you'll be fine with this. But yeah, a lot of activities to do. So this did take me like I think a couple weeks or maybe a week, maybe. But as you can see, I started on like February 3rd and I got the plat on the 17th. So I did take breaks playing this game because it is a lot. It is pretty dense, and like getting through a lot of some of the main stories does take some time. So again, I mean I do recommend this game. I don't think it's terrible by any means. But I did enjoy it. Next up, I did Far Cry Primal. This is one of my favorite Far Cry games. I don't know why. The only trophy that sucks in this is to unlock all your skills, which requires you to basically do everything in the game, all the side quests, all of the like optional quests, and that really is the grind of this game. And this game is actually super buggy. My game did crash a lot. It's a super buggy mess, but I love it. It's my super buggy mess. But yeah, it's Far Cry, so just like Avatar Pandora, like hunting animals, story missions, side quests, upgrading all your weapons, unlocking skills, liberating like the areas, all that kind of standard, and then your basic combat related trophies. But yeah, overall fun game. This did take me a while. This took me probably a week to do. So it's whatever. Yeah, the 80 collectibles is another one. Like there's way more than that, but just like Far Cry 3, which I just did at the time of recording this, you only have to collect like half of them, which is nice. But yeah, pretty standard Far Cry plat. Nothing crazy. Another Ubisoft game is Breakpoint. I did start this game way before I finished. As you can see, I started it on the 25th of July of 23, and I got the plat in March of 24. I did play through all of the story, and then I got most of these trophies, and then this is when I decided to go back and do the platinum for this. I also did a video on this Breakpoint. It's on my channel. Pretty fun. I really like the Ghost Recon games, and so playing through this again with the eye of like going for the platinum was actually really fun. Again, this is all like story-based, skill-based trophies. There's a bunch of combat trophies, classes, there's weapons, upgrading your weapons, some collectible stuff like finding attachments. There is a couple multiplayer trophies in here, but those were actually way easier to get than I was expecting. Completing side missions. I mean, it's pretty standard Ubisoft open world stuff. Really enjoyed this game. I originally played this game on Xbox when it came out. And that's when they had like the gear level and all that kind of, like, it was like the story wasn't bad, but like it's just the gameplay didn't really work. And then over the years they updated the game where you can change the settings and make it more of like a classic, like Wildlands was the precursor to this game. So this game is a lot better now than it was. So moving on, we have Spider-Man Miles Morales. This was also another game that I played, as you can see, in March of 2023. When I first got my PlayStation 5, it was probably the first game I played, honestly. But I never went for the platinum because, again, this was before I did Ghost of Tsushima. So I didn't really care to get to the platinum. Yeah, and then I finally went back and just clean. I only had like a couple trophies to do. I think it was the 100-hit combo, a couple of these just little story related trophy, like side story related trophies, and a couple combat trophies I think I needed, and also like the new game plus trophies I also needed. So yeah, I mean, again, I like I mentioned earlier, I really like the Spider-Man games, so this was a fun to kind of clean up and get the platinum for. Next up, I went back and played after doing Breakpoint. I was like, let's do Wildlands, baby. So that's what I did. I did Wildlands. I also did a video on this. It's on my channel. So I'm not going to talk too deeply about this. But again, I really like the Ghost Recon games. And I played Wildlands when it came out years ago. I think it was 2017 when that came out. Again, that was on Xbox. I played Xbox for like 10 years before I came back to PlayStation. It's still just a really fun game. Like, playing this with friends is so much fun as well. But playing it solo is not terrible either. It's just you have to rely on your AI teammates. Just like Breakpoint, a lot of this is just combat related trophies, story related trophies, side quests. It's a Ubisoft open world game. It's pretty much the same in all of those games. Collectible trophies and all that kind of stuff like that. Again, I cover all of this in my video, so if you want to check that out, it's on my channel. Next up, this is a fun game. This is another top 5 for me. This is kind of crazy. It's one of my rarest platinums I have. As you can see, it's a 0.4% of players. And this is SnowRunner. I started it took me a couple months to do this, probably more than a couple months, honestly. It's one of those games. It's like it's a truck simulator game in a way, where you like deliver cargo, but like the thing is, like, there are no roads for most of the things, so you have to like trudge through like swamps and like water and mud. It's one of those games where, like, if you're not into that, you're really not gonna enjoy it. But I didn't think I would enjoy it, but once I like got into it, like, it took a few hours to really like get into the game, to where the point where, like, okay, I know what I'm doing, this is my objective, let's do point A to point B to point C, that type of thing. So you do really have to have patience for this. But again, it's not a hard platinum. I don't think, personally. There are 3 main areas of the game. I was actually working on a platinum video for this, and I think I scrapped it, or I started it or something. It's been over a year, or almost a year but I do have videos on my channel for this. I just never finished it. But yeah, so there's like a couple collectibles, like finding all the upgrades. There's delivering certain cargo. There is completing different all of like the side missions, the main missions. There is, vehicle specific trophies like delivering certain X amount of cargo with like a certain vehicle. So I mean, it is pretty it is pretty like tedious. I think there is a lot that takes into this because I think I have like 200 hours in this game. Like it took me seriously like 200 hours to do this. And a lot of that was just like messing around and just like driving and like I could have got it a lot sooner. It's just I did a lot of stuff, that took way longer than it should have. But yeah, other than that, it's a really fun game if you can get into it. Again, it's just one of those games. But yeah, overall, very fun game. Highly recommend to people. So after that, I went on an Assassin's Creed kick. I did these 3 games in about a month. Freedom Cry was DLC for Far Cry for Assassin's Creed 4. So there's no platinum for it, but I did go ahead and just 100% anyway. Just a nice like little small Assassin's Creed game. Then I did Rogue. I've never played Rogue, so it was fun to kind of go back and do the remaster for this. And again, standard Assassin's Creed. This is pre RPG Assassin's Creed, so completing all of the sequences got you some of the trophies. There's some present day stuff. Achieve 100% synchronization. A bunch of combat related stuff. There's the challenges, like looting supply camps and like all that kind of stuff like that. And it's really nothing crazy. Doing the collectibles, like collecting some of the armor pieces, fragments. I mean, there's a lot of collectibles in this, but it's really not like terrible. I think I did this in maybe a week. It took me to do this, and that's playing about 5-6 hours a day. So you can get this pretty quickly if you just kind of streamline it. But again, nothing crazy. Assassin's Creed game. Really like this game. After that, I did Liberation, another game I never played. I know this was on the PSP, I believe, so this was a port remaster. So it does play like a PSP game still. Like it's not too overly like detailed as compared to the other games. But it's still just it's a nice like small little game. You can get this done in less than a week for sure. So yeah, I started it on the 16th and got it on the 23rd. Yeah, that sounds about right. Again, just like the other ones, completing the sequences, doing 100% synchronization, which is not as difficult as the other like main games. Of course, combat stuff. There's collectibles which actually show up on the map, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then just a bunch of combat related trophies, nothing overly complicated, because I mean this is a lot smaller of a game than the other Assassin's Creed games. I would say it's like between Freedom Cry and like Rogue, so in terms of the scale, so it is a pretty easy game. Nothing crazy. As you can see, I was going to do 3, but I did get we'll just talk about it. It's the 100% of these main missions are ridiculous. I mean, obviously I know it's possible, and it's just been like 6 months since I've touched this game. I'm gonna go back and eventually finish it because I want to get all the plats for the Assassin's Creed games, but I just had to take a break, and that break just ended up being way longer than it needed to be. Then of course I haven't played any of the DLC, which are all of these trophies here. So yeah, that's something that I will eventually work on and go back to. And here's another trophy that it's like this. Ubisoft is notorious for it. Like win a game of all of these mini games that are in the game. Like I know some of these aren't hard, but it's just like, why? I don't want to do them. I'm sorry. Anyways, rant over. So after that, I did Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Really like this game too. This was the last of the old style Assassin's Creed games before they transitioned to the RPG stuff. But I do really enjoy this game. Nothing again, like most Assassin's Creed games, there's just collectibles. There is the completing the sequences, skill-based trophies, combat trophies. The only one that sucks is, where is it at? Is this one, Without a Grudge. As you can see, I started this back in like December of 23 and I didn't get it until almost a year later. But destroy 5,000 destructibles with your carriage. Dude, this absolutely terrible. It it's one of the worst grinds I think in the game that I've done so far. Obviously, I know there's worse grinds, but so far one of the worst grinds. Um, just having to find a route where I can just go and destroy stuff and just spend like 3 hours doing that until I eventually got it is absolutely insane. Really enjoyed this game. Love it. 10 out of 10. And then right here, Star Wars Outlaws. So this one, Star Wars Outlaws, came out. So you can see, got my first trophy on the 8th of September of 2024. And just 3 days later, I got the plat. So this platinum actually was unobtainable. I would have got it way earlier, probably like maybe a day or two earlier. But this platinum was unobtainable for like the first week, and that's because there was like a glitch side mission where one thing that you needed to get a trophy. I don't even remember what trophy it was, to be honest with you. But you couldn't do it until there was like a patch, and then as soon as that patch came out, and I did that mission like right away, and then got the platinum. But it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I love this game. You know, a lot of people were dogging on it when it was announced because it's like, oh, women character and it's Ubisoft, so automatically going to be bad. But I really enjoy this game. It is, again, it's like, so Star Wars Outlaws to me is kind of how like Gotham Knights is, where if you are a deep Star Wars fan, you're going to love this game because it is like, if you're just like a casual who just like watches the movies and like maybe the shows, a lot of this is just not, you're just like, I don't understand any of this. So for me, this was just really fun to go and play through. But like, you know, like typical Ubisoft, complete stories, collect collectibles, combat trophies, um, complete quest lines. Yeah, discover all planet areas. There is reaching maximum reputation with each of the factions. Um, you know, collecting gear, all that kind of great stuff, pickpocketing, betting. I was worried about the Sabacc game, but Sabacc is actually pretty fun when you understand how to play it. So I wasn't, you know, too worried about that trophy. But other than that, just definitely pretty easy platinum. I think the only difficult one was this one right here. Punching up was to defeat each syndicate's capital ship without taking hull damage. You can cheese this trophy. I don't know if you still can. I don't know if they patched it or not. But if you're friendly with the syndicates, you can just ram your ship into theirs, and it'll deplete their shields slowly, so it will take like maybe 5 minutes or so to do it. They won't attack you. They'll just be like, hey, stop that. And then like, but you keep doing it and they won't attack you. And then when the shields are gone, you can still ram them, and their health will go down. And then when they have like a sliver health is when you fire them with your weapons. So it does take probably like 15 minutes per ship. And they're also randomly spawned, so you have to keep going back down to orbit or come back to the space. So it is tedious, and I think that's pretty much the hardest trophy here. Yeah, but moving on is Expeditions. So this is kind of a sequel to Snow Runner or Mud Runner, because Mud Runner was the original, or one of the game before Snow Runner, which I haven't played, and then Expeditions is the one after Snow Runner. This one took me a while. It took me a few months to do. Because with SnowRunner, again, another pretty rare one for me. at 0.6. It was fun, collecting vehicles, going around and doing all of the missions, driving a total 200 kilometers. So you have these main areas here. The difference between SnowRunner in this game is that Expeditions is you are out in the wild and there are no roads at all. Like, so you really have to, you're driving completely off road, off the grid. And if you have to recover, you you have to pay for it out of your money, and you have to go and with certain equipment to do certain things. Like, it is more technical than SnowRunner. So if you are into actual car building and into all that kind of stuff like that, off-roading, you will enjoy this game, because again, it's another game that took me a few hours to get into, but once you really get a rhythm going, then you're gonna really enjoy this game. Overall, not really hard of a game. It's just really tedious, I think, for sure. This is a tedious kind of grind to do all this. But yeah, still a fun platinum. Still really enjoyed it. So moving on is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I actually got this platinum. Let's see. Yeah, in October of 23. So I got this platinum before, or right after, I think, what's it called? Mirage came out. But as you can see, my first trophy was in May of 2023. This is another game that I played fully on Xbox. So I have all of these achievements on Xbox, except for the Forgotten Saga, because I'm not good at roguelike games, because that's what that game mode is. But other than that, I have done all of this. But Valhalla, let's talk about Valhalla. I love this game. One thing about me is not really on my gaming side, but on my other YouTube channels, that I am a Norse pagan. So I follow Viking history and Norse mythology. So same thing with Odyssey. This game, it's just so much fun for me personally. Going through all the different arcs, exploring the world. I will admit that the collectible grind of this game is atrocious. There's so many, doing all of the side quests and doing all of the these right here, these standing stones, the cairns, just doing everything sucks. And then the worst trophy for me personally is what we've been talking about, is these side games that are in these main games, and that is Orlog. In this game, and it's kind of like a Yahtzee style game, but man, it sucks. This right here, Orlog Champion. This was the last trophy I think I got before I got the platinum, and it took me so long. But once you beat all of the easy ones, you get different power ups. So it does get easier, but you really have to understand how to play the game, and they kind of explain it in the game, obviously, but it's still just luck based, honestly. Another difficult trophy was here to catch a fish of each type. This one also took a long time. But other than that, standard Assassin's Creed stuff, completing all the side content, traveling, swimming. There's all the video fragments, doing all the hunting stuff. Other than that, it's really not that difficult of a game. It's just tedious and long, the collectible stuff. But yeah, love Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The only reason it's higher up on this list is because I started getting some of these trophies. But yeah, so moving on, we did the Order 1886. This was, I think, my 40th. I don't remember. But yeah, this is a game that I missed initially when it came out, and then I saw a video on it, and I was like, oh, dude, I want to play that game. Because it's one of those that's just right up my alley, and this game is absolutely incredible. If you have not played it, absolutely do it. It's just one of those story-driven games, single-player games. You can knock it out in 10 hours. I think I got this in a day. Yeah. The 24th, I think, is... When did I start this game? Yeah, I think I got it in less than a day. So it is pretty easy to do. There is collectibles, as you can see. There's the phonographs, the newspapers, and then like inspecting all of those. And there's chapter select, so you can go back and do these, and they're pretty easy to find. Like they're nothing that crazy. And then of course there is combat related trophies. There's story related trophies. I think the hardest one, actually, I don't really think there is a hard trophy. All this stuff you can kind of get just by playing the game. This one right here is pretty difficult. Shoot an airborne grenade during black sight. Black sight is kind of like it like slows down time. It's kind of like Deadeye and Red Dead. But that one was kind of difficult because there has to be very specific circumstances for that. But other than that, pretty easy. Platinum, very dark game. I love this world and I wish we got a sequel to it. But man, just a solid game overall. All right, and now we're getting to the worst of these. The worst of these. After playing 1886, I really needed a palate cleanser, especially since I did a lot of these like big open world games just like back to back. I just needed something that was just I could just throw out the window, you know. And that is, I finally played My Name is Mayo. And these are like the only shovelware games I have. But I will say, My Name is Mayo 3 has an actual story. And like by the end of it, I was like, what in the world is going on? Like it's kind of crazy. Like they went pretty hard in My Name is Mayo 3. But yeah, I mean it's shovelware, you know, it's whatever. You can do whatever you want with me on that. But I just needed the palate cleanser. This was 3 hours, these 3 games, that I just kind of knocked them out. Next after that, I played Far Cry 6. I would actually love to go and play some of these DLC stuff, but Far Cry 6, you know, it's a Far Cry game. I think it's one of my favorite Far Cry games. I'm going to be honest. I really like most of the story, you know, but it's standard Far Cry, you know, complete side missions. There's a secret ending, you know, doing all of like story related stuff, completing the game, most of it's combat stuff, capturing all the bases, side mission stuff. Really nothing too crazy. Again, here's another game, Win a Dominoes game. That one took a few tries, but that's not as difficult as some of the other side games. Yeah, really think that the only trophy that sucks here is the trophy where you have to take, I think it's at the bottom, this trophy right here. Take out 3 insurgent leaders. Most people, this is a timed lock trophy. So after you complete the game, there are these leaders that come up and they take over like a province that you previously liberated. So you have to go through and liberate it again, and then you get their location, and then you have to go and like hunt them down, that kind of stuff like that. And they only show up once a week, so these are like weekly events. So at most, it's gonna take you 2.5 weeks to get the platinum. But I kind of got lucky. It only took me a week because when I started the game, I had maybe like 3 hours left on the current insurgent leader. So I was like, oh, let me do that real quick. So I did that, and then I got the like, you know, the next day I did the second one. So I got those 2, and then I just had to wait a week for the third one to show up. And then I did that, and so that was pretty easy. Nothing insane there. There's a couple multiplayer trophies that I actually had to go online and find people to play. Pretty easy platinum. I mean, it took me almost a month. I actually, now that because I did take a break. Okay, that, yeah. So it did take me about a month to do this. So not like 2 weeks, but I'm talking about like actual game time. It was about a week. Moving on, I got the Minecraft platinum. Nothing crazy there. I try to get a lot of the stuff here, so you can see I'm missing a lot from these expansion packs. Is this one new? What is this? So yeah, so like I haven't gotten all of them, but I did get the plat. I love Minecraft. Minecraft is if you're on my channel, like I have like a Minecraft series that I haven't touched in like 8 months, but When I originally started YouTube, I started with Minecraft, and so it was fun to go back and get a lot of these again. So let's go moving on. So this is kind of like the last like few months. So I started Borderlands 2, did Jurassic World. Finally sat down and did that game. This one took me a while too because I started it like um in March of last year, and then I got the plat November of last year. Um, so I did that. Then finally went back and did Marvel Spider-Man. This is the PS4 version, so this is not the remaster. So I did that. Really nothing to say here. I do want to go back and play the DLC because I did all these on my other account. Yeah, so doing Marvel Spider-Man. And then another game that I never played was Sleeping Dogs. I did Sleeping Dogs. This was also a really fun game to play. Nothing overly hard about this, doing all the side missions, unlocking the map, trying food, a bunch of combat related trophies. This one sucked right here, winning 50,000 in a single cockfight. That one took a while because it's like you have to do this, but I actually did it pretty much in one go. So I got this one is like bet on one or win a bet and then win. I got these like basically back to back, as you can see. I got them at the same time. So that was pretty nice. Yeah, just doing like completing all cases, favors, which are like side missions, all the open world events, street races, unlocking upgrades. The collectible grind in here kind of sucks, but it's actually not terrible. It took me just like maybe like a day of just really locking in, or not like a day, probably like maybe 4 hours and going through all the stuff that I haven't gotten yet. But other than that, pretty trophy. This probably sucks right here. Doing these gold stat awards. You don't need there's more than 30. So just picking certain ones, the easiest ones to get. So this one probably took me the longest, was getting the 30 gold stat awards. And then of course, completing all the missions and stuff like that. So, nothing crazy. I love that. Right after that I did Borderlands, and Borderlands I think was my 50th platinum. I have been kind of lacking this year, but I got this I think right at the end of the year. Yeah, the 9th is when I got this platinum. I've never played Borderlands before, and so it was fun to kind of go through. I saw that they were all on sale, which is why I also started Borderlands 2. They were all on sale, and so I played Borderlands. So Borderlands was my 50th platinum, and now we're caught up. So this is what I'm currently working on. I'm in the middle of Witcher, Just Cause, the Spyro games. So my next platinum trophy was Spyro the Dragon of the Reignited trilogy, and this is the first one I got this year. And I've been kind of slacking lately. So this is my 51st trophy. I'm almost done with Power Wash Simulator, besides like the DLC stuff. I think I only have the challenges. Yeah. So I just have to do the challenges for Power Wash Simulator, and then I'll get that plat. And then right now I'm in the middle of Assassin's Creed 2. So I'm almost done with that, and then I'm almost done with Lawn Mowing Simulator as well. For the base game, I think all I have here is these are all the challenges, and then there's one trophy here. I think it's so you have to use an American-made mower to complete a contract on the 4th of July, which sucks because the game takes place in 2021, and the 4th of July is on like a Sunday, so you have to do like a whole nother year of contracts to get to July 4th. So that'll take me some time. And then this is my recent plat I got at the time of recording this yesterday. That is Far Cry 3. I've never played Far Cry 3, and so I just decided to jump in and play it, and I got it within a few days, almost a week, I would say, 13th to the 18th, so 5 days. This game is pretty fun. I feel like this was the start of like the current era of Far Cry, you know, where you play as a protagonist and you go and you liberate. I never played Far Cry 1 or 2, so I have no idea what those games are like. But yeah, so it's standard Far Cry, liberate outposts, story missions, you know, spending money, unlocking all skills, combat trophies, radio towers. Here's all the collectibles, the memory cards, letters of the lost, and the relics. The only trophy that I was worried about was his poker one, which is to win $1,500 playing poker, because I have no idea how to play poker, vaguely. But I did find this strategy where you play a side mission, and you just kind of spam all in, and eventually people will just kind of back out. I think I won like $2,000 from that, so that was nice. I got it like right there, and that was the last trophy I needed, was Poker Bully. But other than that, yeah, a lot of this is pretty, you know, crafting, all these combat trophies. A lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. That is my platinum trophy collection so far. I am working on, like, I think the biggest game right now I'm working on is The Witcher. As you can see, it's been about a few weeks, because I have to do that game in doses. That's a pretty dense game. So that's the biggest one that I have so far. But I do want to do the Last of Us games. I want to do Red Dead, both of them. I want to do the God of War games. So it's gonna be pretty next 50 platinums, or I guess 48. Will be pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to that this year, to see kind of like where I'm at come December of 25. But anyways, guys, thank you for sitting through this long video going through all these games. Really appreciate it. If you have a game that you would like me to platinum that you didn't see on this list, please let me know. I'm always looking for new games to play, whether they're long games or short games. But yeah, let me know how many platinum trophies you have, and also let me know if you would like to see videos on any of these or on future games that I do. But anyways, guys, my name is Jorvik, and I'll see you in the next one.